In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to do yarn over and knit two together. There's a lot of applications that use yarn overs and knit two together. And what happens when we do a yarn over, we actually make an increase. And when we knit two together, it's a decrease. There's other ways to do a decrease and yarn overs or increases, but the two I'm going to show you today is a very simple way, but you'll use it for many things. So this piece I have going here is truly a sampler. It's got a lot of different things just to show you when you combine yarn overs and knit two together, you can come up with lots of different designs. A couple of other things I'd like to show you about this sampler. I think I maybe knitted or cast on 20 or 25 stitches. On this one, for the border, I did not do a couple of rows of knit a row and then knit several rows before I started the sampler itself. And you can see it causes a curl because there is none of the ridge like what we have over here in this sample where we knitted just several rows. It causes it to lay flat, and I did this on purpose because I just wanted you to see what happens when you just do knit a row and purl a row. And so that's why that roll is in there. And because this is wool yarn, when we block it, that will relax and lay flat. Also, I did not do the knit, well, in this case we knitted 5 stitches. I just started and ended on a knit row and a purl row. Over here on this side, I did do 3 stitches of knitting every time I started this row and ended this row. And I did that on purpose just so you would get a good visual of what your work will look like depending upon what you're making. If you were making a scarf and you wanted an edge that's not going to have fight the roll in it, putting a border on it like this will cause it to lay down flat. So just something to learn. This is a sampler, so I decided to do several examples here in this particular sample. Over here is a sample of where I knitted I did a yarn over and then I did knit two together on every row when I came to this place. Over here I did a yarn over, knit two, yarn over, knit two, and you can see the design it starts to make. Here I staggered the rows, still doing a yarn over, knit two together. Up here I just did a yarn over, knit two together, and then went on knitting some rows around it. So you actually can end up with an eyelet. Here is where you've got 2 eyelets, a yarn over, knit two together, yarn over, knit two together. Up here for the whole row, I did a yarn over and knit two together. Just samples of those 2 little stitches and what kind of a design you can begin to make. And here I did a number of rows of yarn over, knit two together. You do that on the knit side coming back. On the purl side, you just do a straight row of purl. So you're only making the design when you're doing the knit side. So now I'm going to show you exactly how to do the yarn over and knit two together. Very easy to do, but I think you're ready for it if you've made our other samplers in the first 4 episodes. And we need to know how to do decreases because I have a goal of teaching you how to make some hats. And we're going to start that. I'm going to show you the 2 hats. They're a simple hat A nice hat, I just have to say, fit kind of like a little bit of a skull hat, but these two hats are the exact same pattern and design, but two different yarns and different color combinations. So you've already learned how to do the cast on, you've learned how to do the ribbing, you've learned how to do straight rows of knit and purl, and this is all straight rows of knit and purl. We've just staggered where the purl is, so you can see it can make a design real quickly. So you already know how to do this, but what you don't know how to do yet is the decreases. We've not talked about that, and we need to know how to do decreases in order to bring the top together. So that's why we're going to learn how to do the decrease, which is the knit two together. And if we didn't put a yarn over with it and just did decreases, well, all of a sudden we would go from 20 stitches down to 10 real quick. So the yarn over keeps us with however many stitches you cast on, and you can make designs with it. So there's benefit in knowing how to do a yarn over for a lot of reasons. There's a number of ways to do increases, but I'm just going to teach you today the yarn over and the knit two together, because there's a lot you can do with those two stitches. So a yarn over is just exactly what it means. We're knitting, so the yarn over is just wrap that yarn. I bring it from the back over to the front. If you did it from the yarn being in the front of your needle and wrap it around to the back, it is nigh on to impossible to bring that stitch, make a stitch here. You can do it, but it's not going to be the way you want it. So for knitting, your yarn is in the back of your needle here, and you're just going to wrap it over to it's in the front and goes to the back. So that's a yarn over. It's good, it's secure, it's going to stay there. Now if you're worried about it slipping off the end of your needle, put your finger on it, your index finger, or put your thumb on it. Now we're going to do the knit two together, and it's just like it says. We're going to knit two stitches together. So in order to do that, we have to get our needle in our right hand into the next two stitches. So we're going to go through the back side of the first stitch and then the back side of the second stitch, and you can see we have two stitches right there on our needle. Now we need to wrap our yarn around the needle point and pull it through, and you've knitted two stitches together. So there's our yarn over, there's our knit two together. So we did not increase stitches because this was the increase. This took that increase away when we knitted the two together. So we will have the same amount of stitches on our needle as we started with. So let's just knit a couple more stitches to kind of move on down the row a little ways. This is all practice. I don't care how many stitches you knit. We're just going to do another yarn over. So how do you get there? Well, my left hand, my finger can kind of bring that forward, or I can take my right hand and wrap it that way. Either way works. The point is to get the yarn over. Your yarn's in the back of your needle, the back of the right hand needle. It's back there, and we're going to wrap it around. So now we've got the wrap on our right needle. That is our yarn over. Now we're going to knit the next two stitches together. Put the point of our needle into the back of the first stitch and right through to the back of the second stitch. And you notice I'm using my middle finger of my left hand to kind of hold that so I can get the needle in. My needles slide nicely. If you're tension's too tight and your needles won't slide nicely, it will be hard to get into those 2 stitches. So if it's hard for you to get in those 2 stitches, then you're knitting with too tight of a tension. So now we're going to do a knit stitch, pull that stitch through those 2 stitches, and there's another yarn over, knit 2 together. Let's do just another couple straight knit stitches again. We're going to do that again now to do a yarn over. There's our yarn over. Yarn's in the back of our right hand needle, and we're going to bring it towards us and then to the back again. So now this yarn is coming off the back side of your right hand needle. There's the wrap right there. Now we're going to do the knit 2 together. You're going to slip your right hand needle in through the back side of your next 2 stitches on your left needle. You're going to wrap just like you're knitting. Pull that through. There it is. And you've got now another yarn over, knit 2 together. If we just did knit 2 together, which for the hat, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to show you real quick. Like here's a couple of knit 2 togethers, and see, we get a big space in there, which is what you want when you're decreasing for the top of a hat. But if this was a scarf we were making, you don't want those decreases. Usually a scarf is the same width at the bottom as it is at the top. So we do a yarn over to accommodate our knit 2 together. And this is the kind of designs you can get when making those yarn overs and knit 2 together. So let's continue down to the end of our row here. So we're on the purl side, and we're just going to purl all the way back. No yarn overs or knit 2 togethers on the purl side. Remember to keep your tension even. And this is a yarn over. Looks a little loose, but it isn't. We just treat it like a regular stitch. We're purling all the way across. There was a knit 2 together that we're purling into. Here's another yarn over that we're going to purl into. So we treat it just like a regular stitch. From the purl side, we do nothing fancy. We just are purling across. Almost to the end of the row here. So there's our yarn over and our knit 2 together. And we can just continue to practice on your sampler. I don't care what it looks like. Just have fun with it. Experiment with it. They can't make any mistakes on this. The idea is to keep a good tension, the same tension as when you're doing straight knitting and purling. So this is your yarn over, knit 2 together sampler. Do that till you feel comfortable with it. And on the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to actually make a fan and feather is the name of the design by using yarn overs and knit 2 together. You'll get a lot of good practice and be able to make a fun design. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next tutorial. Bye now.